me give you guys a little bit of background in terms of what I thought of when I was making this team, because it was a very weird thought process. But I think it was Violet Weavile in my Twitch chat was like, have you ever tried Tapu Bulu with Superior? And I was like, no, but I think about it, and it's like, you know what? Tapu Bulu setting the grassy terrain along with a Superior, doubling the power of Leaf Storm, and then immediately after, it doubles it again with its special attack. So you're firing off really powerful Leaf Storms. What else benefits from that? I was watching a Gator video, and I saw that he used a, or what was it? I think it was Gator and PK, but one of them decided to use, freaking, what was it? Toxic Heal Breloom with Grassy Terrain, so you're healing, you know, 3/16 of your HP every turn, and it's just, what? That is a lot of recovery for Breloom. So, on top of that, I was like, you know what? What's another way I can make this even ruder? Let's make it a contrary team. So, I'm going to go ahead and put Malamar on there, and this Malamar is a very special one. I've been using it a lot lately, and I love it. We'll cover it when we get to it. In the meantime, all I have after that is, I had a Heatran because I wanted rocks, and I wanted a, I wanted something to take flying hits, and I wanted to take fire hits. And then I got Rotom Wash. I felt like it kind of rounded everything off nicely. So when in doubt for 2 other team slots, just put Heatran and Rotom Wash. Most of the time you'll do okay. So I'm going to go and lead off with Heatran. And I wanted to get the rocks up, but you know what? He probably had the same idea. He was like, this guy's going to try to go ahead and get up his rocks. So I'm going to go ahead and protect, scout to see what it's going to go for, because more often than not, I run into these things being scarfed as opposed to Life Orb. So I'm just going to go ahead and go on the raw assumption that this thing does happen to be scarfed, which is why I'm going to go ahead and go into Rotom Wash right now and Volt Switch. Now, I'm going to look really stupid if he switches up move and he just, you know, hits me with the Sludge Wave, but I'm just, you know, going on the very wild assumption at this point, because it's either Scarf or Life Orb is usually what they are, and it turns out I still don't know whether or not it is, but I can roughly assume that it is because he didn't want to switch up moves, or, you know, maybe he just didn't think he was going to kill me off and he just didn't want to die to a Hydro Pump. That's fine too, but I'm able to Volt Switch out into my Bulu, get the Grassy Surge going, and this is actually not my banded one, unfortunately. This is a Terrain Extender, and it's like a Bulk Up, I think. Bulk Up, what is that? Leech Seed 2 attacks 1 or something like that? That sounds about right. Ultimately, it's just here to keep the grassy terrain up as long as possible. But I decided to go out and Rotom again, because, like, you know what? I don't really care what it's going to do outside of that. And it turns out he just ends up switching out into his Charizard. I think from a previous match I had with him, with this nickname, I learned that this was a Swords Dance Charizard X, so that knowledge is actually good to have in mind. Unless he does happen to ironically have 2 Charizards that are named I'm Different, and they do actually happen to be different. That would be a pretty excellent mindfuck, but I'm just going on the assumption that it is SD-Sard. So I'm going to go for Volt Switch right now. No consequence to doing that whatsoever. I do have to be careful with, you know, going for... I think I have something on this team that has a... Oh, yeah, you know what? Freaking Rotom Wash is the one with the water moves. Duh. So I can't Hydro Pump as long as this thing's alive, because this thing is just going to immediately switch in whenever it wants to. But I'm going to go ahead and bring in the man, and it turns out I do it on... Or the man. The woman, I should say. On the turn that it reveals Toxic. So it's just like... That's horribly, horribly disappointing. On top of that, I think I make another beautiful choke here, thinking that he's going to want to go ahead and sack his, or he doesn't want to sack his Vaporeon, and it's like, you know what, I have Grassy Terrain up, and I have Leaf Storm, and I'm a Life Orb Superior. This is a very dangerous scenario for a Vaporeon. I'm throwing up nearly every red flag I can that's saying, you should probably get out of here. This is not a good place for a Vapor. This is the worst possible place. This is like Heatran territory. If you have a Heatran, you should switch it in now, because, hey, hello, I'm a grass type in grassy terrain, going for one of the most powerful grass moves in the game that will continue to get more powerful, so I'm just not going to go for Leaf Storm. I'm going to go for Hidden Power Rock instead. As this man has, how does he even sit down properly with balls that big? Like, do you just have to drape him over the front of the chair and just sit perpetually doing the splits? Like, I don't understand the logic behind that. It was like, okay, I'm definitely gonna go for the Hidden Power Rock here, expecting, I don't even remember what I was expecting to come in. I didn't expect Vaporeon to stay in was the important part. Let's look at the battle preview. I can't even find that game anymore. Where is it? And it turns out my thumbnail's not even loading. Oh, you know what? I thought Charizard was going to come in. That's what it was. And it turns out, you know, it just doesn't even end up doing anything because I just choked that hard. It was disgusting. So it's like, okay, you know what? I do have something else that benefits. Breloom does still benefit from the grassy terrain. Also, holy shit, I just realized I have 3 grass types on this team. That could have gone very badly. But I have flying resist and I have water resist. Or no, I have flying resist, I have fire resist, and I think that's it. This is honestly a very bad team in retrospect. 'Cause it's just like, you know what? I've got a lot of ice weaknesses as well. Grass is not a very good defensive type, nor is it a very good offensive one. But grassy terrain kind of helps out a lot there. So I get my Toxic Orb as he just ends up kind of pissing around there for a little bit. And I have no problem going for Seed Bomb on this thing. I think I ended up, yeah, I just ended up doing that. And right here, guess what? Choke again. Totally forgot about Bug Buzz not being able to, or being able to go through subs. Because I was like, you know what? He's not going to stay in and die. He's going to go ahead and Volt Switch. And that's not going to hit me. So I'm just going to punch whatever switches in. And realistically, I should have just Seed Bombed again. It was so stupid of me. You know, to think that I was really and truly getting a 100% protected focus punch in front of a Bug Buzz user. So it's going to go ahead and buzz through the sub. I lose my focus. And on top of that, it actually does a really good amount of damage. I just straight up almost die. So I was like, okay, that's not very nice. On top of that, that's a lot of damage. I'm not sure if that is like choice damage or something like that. That seems like a lot for Galvantula. But then again, Breloom isn't that bulky. I don't know. I don't have a lot of frame of reference for this stuff. But as you can see, I have a Heatran. I have a special defensive Heatran. The fact that Bug Buzz still does that much to a special defensive Heatran, you know, it might be. You know, that might just not be me talking out of my ass. That's a lot of special defense that Heatran's got in it. And that's a ×4 resist. The fact that it does more than it takes for one lefties to recover, I don't know, man. But Vaporeon comes in, I'm going to get my rocks up right now. I figure it's the best thing I can do for Galvantula. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at in the game right now. We've kind of slowed down to a standstill now thanks to the fact that Vaporeon is here, Heatran is here. I've actually lost a decent amount of my grass types. So the main intention for the team turns out that I'm kind of stuck against Vaporeon, which is really stupid. Having 3 grass types and then choking against Vaporeon, that's actually happening. You know, that's happening right here on this channel. That's me. But I mean, I have Breloom, but I just don't want to switch it on Ice Beam. I mean, I don't care if it's Toxic or whatever, and I still haven't seen Wish or anything like that. Maybe it just doesn't have Wish, and it's just got, like, Scald, Ice Beam, Toxic. I don't fucking know what a 4th move would be. Heal Bell? I get the feeling I would have seen Heal Bell by now if it did have it, but honestly, it's kind of whatever. So, I go into Roto Wash right now, you know, I'm gonna go for a Volt Switch immediately on this thing. Even though he does still have Nidoking, I just want to force it out. It's just like, you know what? I'm kind of sick of dealing with this thing. I'm frustrated at myself because I came so prepared for it. I have 4 things that immediately threaten out Vaporeon. And he just has, he has good switches to it, don't get me wrong. But Vaporeon has more business not being in than it does being in is ultimately what I'm saying. And he goes out into a Scrafty. I'm going to go ahead and Volt Switch out, as I previously mentioned, and decide to go out into my Tapu Bulu immediately after. Just because I can go ahead and get the terrain back up again. I do have Bulk Up and Leech Seed, but my main goal is just to get the terrain up so I can get extra recovery on Breloom. And, you know, try to get it back to a decent amount of HP. That way, once I Leech Seed, I'll be getting HP back on that, and then I'll be getting Toxic Orb, and then I'll be getting Grassy Terrain. So on paper, Breloom should be getting back enough HP within like a turn or two to be able to deal with Vaporeon right away. But it turns out I'm not going to get that immediate turnaround just because he does have Fake Out. I believe he has Ice Punch as well. So I think he's Fake Out, Ice Punch, Drain Punch, and Crunch is what my natural guess would be there. I haven't seen a Scrafty in a really long time. I don't really know what this game was supposed to be. But then again, when's the last time you saw a Malamar? So we're seeing some cool stuff. He's going to go for his Ice Punch, as I previously mentioned here. I'm not necessarily worried with how much it's going to be doing, just because, you know, there's no reason for a Scrafty to be banded, I guess. He could probably come up with other stuff to be banded. It's not Stab, and I haven't seen Life Orb or anything like that. Plus, I have Grassy Terrain and Leech Seed going, so I'm actually going to be able to shrug it off decently well. As long as I don't get frozen is my big concern. That could definitely happen. But as you can see, net, it does around maybe a little less than 25%. But what I wanted to do here was go out in a Breloom, potentially on either, I don't know, honestly, what I was expecting. That could have been fodder, especially if he decided to go for an Ice Punch again. But he ultimately decides to go out into Charizard, which is great because he didn't have he didn't get the opportunity to spin or defog. I'm not sure if he had anything like that on his team. I'm not looking at the video thumbnail right now. I forgot what I had for breakfast. It makes me think I remember what the other 5 Mons on his team were, despite the fact they're all still alive. I remember Vaporeon and Scrafty and Nidoking, and I think that and he had Galvantula too, but I don't think he had any spinners or defoggers. Maybe not that I'm aware of at the moment, but I decided to stay in here. My main reason being, well, if he's Dragon Dance now, or if he decides to go for Sword Dance now, I can't let him get away with that. I have to go for it. I have to go for Spore, and I have to pray that I land it. But I'm back to Pokemon, which are both of 2 out of 3 of my grass types, and all of a sudden, all I have left is a Rotom Wash and a Tapu Bulu to deal with this thing. And, you know, if I can't, then that's going to be pretty unfortunate. On top of that, the grassy terrain is not really putting me in a better position at all. So I'm actually set back quite a bit until I bring in Malamar. Now, the one thing that I was talking about on my Twitter a few weeks ago before Bank came out, I was like, I wonder how Happy Hour affects contrary users / stat boosting Z moves affect contrary users. Does it like completely nerf it into the ground? Because, you know, you get +1 on everything with Happy Hour, with Z Happy Hour. Kind of like how Jirachi, Jirachi's able to use it as well, and it gets a +1 on everything. And I tested it out with a contrary Lurantis at the time, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. And it turns out it does get +1 on everything. And that's honestly all that Malamar needs in order to get the party started. You got your half-price Mo-Z-rella sticks, Mo-Z-rella sticks, as my stream has affectionately dubbed it. But we're good to go from here. On top of that, I dodge a Toxic, and instantly, all that momentum I was bitching about losing, you know, for the past like 10 minutes, I got it back. This is all we need. We need +1 in everything Malamar, and I'm just going to be able to knock off, and boom, dead Vaporeon. Perfect. Bringing it back home. So the one thing that he forgot, and I honestly have forgotten this too when I've been fighting a Malamar as well, is you cannot switch in an Intimidate user on it. This adds gasoline to the fire. This is not water. So I'm immediately now at +2 attack, and this means that I'm just able to go for a superpower from here. Get my +3, so I've got, those of you keeping track after this, I now have +4 attack. No. +4? +3. I think I have +3 attack. So +1 from the Happy Hour, +1 from the Intimidate, +1 from that superpower. We get Stealth Rocks going on here. On top of that, from the Z Happy Hour, I'm actually now faster than Galvantula, so I'm able to pick it off from here. Definitely at +3 attack. This thing's fragile as well. It's not stab, but I don't need it to be at that range of HP. So we're now at +4 attack, +3 defense, I believe, and +1 everything else. So this Malamar is stacked. It's not going to be taking anything from anything. The Nidoking is probably, you know, the best opportunity that he has here. If he had, like, Scarf Megahorn, that definitely would have gotten me absolutely... Well, I don't know what that amount of defense, I guess, but it's a Scarf one, and it's a Scarf special one. The +1 helps out a lot there because Earth Power doesn't end up doing that much at all. I think it only does a little bit over half. I don't remember if I had any prior damage on it whatsoever, but I got Psycho Cut, and as you can see, I'm knocking things over left and right. If he had Sucker Punch, he actually did not reveal it here. I think he was maybe banking on being able to... I don't know what the play there was. Honestly, he was probably just switching Mons in to die. Sucker Punch wasn't doing anything, being unstab at +3 HP, and then on top of that, it actually got a base power reduction this generation as well. But Charizard's going to come in. I think this happens to be the last one, and I'm able to clean this one off with a superpower as well. So Malamar, in my moment of frustration with the rest of the team, said, "Hey, I got your back, coach." Or yeah, I'm gonna put everything there. And I'm also noticing that his name was Green, and I was the one using the greener team with Superior and that. And then I don't think Boo is really green at all, but I had a lot of green going on my side, and it turns out that Malamar stole the show pretty much. But that's kind of the team that I've been using on stream every now and then. It's really fun to use against passerbys because I'm not expecting Z Happy Hour, and Contrary Superior and Grassy Terrain is really fun, so having a Contrary team, really nice, especially if you can get Web around on it. I don't need a Defogger necessarily because I don't care. If you get Web, you boost speed on Superior, you boost speed on Malamar, everything else just doesn't really give a shit about speed, so that was a game. It's a little bit of a longer one. I think it's probably the longest one I had in this batch of 3. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you can leave a like rating, comment, subscribe, do your thing. You guys know how that goes. I think that's going to do it out of me for this one. I've got some more games to record. Not a lot more, but I do them 3 at a time, and then that's probably around a week and a half worth of content. So, yeah, social media in the description. You guys know how that goes. I'll see you on the next one. Later.